Hello, 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 everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking to you all about mastering the daily habits of successful authors and entrepreneurs. One of the questions that I get all the time is, Kyle, how do you manage your daily calendar? What are some of the things that you're doing on a daily basis to keep you, one, productive, that have helped to be able to create success or success strategies, but also balance. And oftentimes we're not having the conversations in regards to what are some of the things that need to be doing to stay sane, stay balanced, but stay productive in a course of the day. So my name is Kyle King. I am a seven-time author, published author. I run the company The Writer's Game, where we help experienced professionals, executives, C-suite executives, write their story and be able to leverage that story to be able to scale their organization in a very intentional and strategic way. But with that, just like anything, our schedules can be jam-packed. Our time is limited, and a lot of the different things that we have to do in the course of the day can seem like there's not enough day in regards to all of the tasks that we may have. So one thing that I want you to consider, it's just one thing that I want you to consider. And as we get through the whole conversation today, if you have questions, if you have comments, considerations, please use the comment section to be able to navigate this conversation with me. And I'll be open to answering any of your questions as well. But one of the things that I want you to understand throughout the course of this conversation that we're going to have, I read a book months ago by Teray Roberts called Balance. And it touched on three major points in one of the chapters in regards to how we achieve balance within our lives. One of the points was priority, wait, and delegate. Understanding what we need to prioritize is the most important thing. And I think a lot of times what we don't understand is that activity doesn't equal achievement within our specific lives or businesses or within our specific schedules. Just because we're doing a lot doesn't necessarily mean that we're accomplishing anything. You could walk around this room time and time again, 20 laps around this room, and you would still end up in the same room. You would still end up in the same place. And that's how a lot of us are navigating our specific professional and personal lives as well. We're moving, but we're not moving with intention. So we're staying in the same room, we're staying in the same place, and we're not moving forward. And that's not allowing us to being able to grow past our specific circumstance and our specific situation that we're a part of. So understanding first, what are our priorities? What are the 2 to 3 things this month, this quarter, that we want to be able to accomplish? And then once we understand those priorities, we reverse engineer those priorities and then be able to move backwards so that we can understand what actions, what steps, what behaviors, what resources, what relationships do I need to be able to create and cultivate and commit to so that I can be able to accomplish these priorities. Once we understand the priorities, then the second piece is understanding, well, what can wait? All right. As high achievers, as high performing achievers, as people that want to be able to accomplish and do so many different things, the reality of life is that we can't. There's not enough time in the day. So we have to understand of the priorities and all of the other things that we may need to accomplish, what of these things can potentially wait to next week, next quarter, next year, and the next season, specifically in our lives? What are the major priorities? And then, of the list of activities that we may need to have, or things that we think are responsibilities or obligations, of those things, what can wait moving forward? And then, when we look at our priorities, or this list of activities, when we think about, all right, there's maybe 10 things on here, I'm going to prioritize 3. And of the 7 that are left, 4 of these things still need to get done. How can we, the third step, delegate? Who are people in our lives that we can potentially pass these responsibilities off onto or empower to be able to lead and take ownership of these specific activities within our lives, whether it be professionally or personally, so that we could be able to move forward? This whole conversation today is going to be about mastering the daily habits of successful authors and entrepreneurs. I would think of myself as being both a successful author, being that I've published 7 books and being able to get these books worldwide, as well as a successful entrepreneur and someone that has built 2 successful organizations over the past 10 years and been able to help thousands of people again worldwide. With all of these, I then understand what to prioritize, what can wait, and what can or should be potentially delegated. When we understand this, I break my day up into four major components. And by the end of this video, I'm going to be able to give you five specific pieces of information that you can take moving forward so that you're like, all right, I can take these five things and be able to act so that in whatever area or whatever stage you are in your business or in your author journey, you could be able to take those five steps, those five call to actions, those five action steps at the end of this video and be able to implement it within your specific life. All right. So there's four ways that I like to categorize or break down my specific day. As an entrepreneur and as an author, these four things work for you every single day. All right. And where I got this concept initially of this champions checklist of what we're going to talk about today is from a good friend of mine, George Achampong. He's the CEO and founder of an organization, a financial farm called Capital Wise. Within their firm, they obviously folk with high capacity, highly successful individuals, and navigating the space of financial literacy to be able to help them grow their wealth in a tenth of the time that it takes usually people to be able to grow their wealth. And we were sitting and having a conversation, and he asked, Kyle, what's on your daily champions checklist? And he said, when you look at a champion or somebody that has won something at a high level, it's not that they've committed to something for 6 hours a day and then taken off 2 weeks. They have daily practices or pillars that they commit to throughout a long period of time that end up transforming their lives in an intentional way. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan didn't just work on their jump shot 3 days a week. They worked on their jump shot probably every single day. And there are certain things in regards to their diet, their health, their weight, all of their routines that they focused on a specific day to be able to make them the champions that they were. When you think about your life and the major goal that you're trying to accomplish, whether it's from an impact standpoint or from an income standpoint, what are daily practices that you need to implement within your specific day, within your specific week, that can help you drive the needle forward? That may be working out. That may be calling a friend and just checking on them. That may be ensuring that you're getting your proper diet in. That may be reading, whatever those things are. Okay. But there's four major components that I like to leverage in regards to breaking down my day that I've seen to drastically improve my productivity as well as improve my results from a business or an author standpoint as well. Number one is lead generation. At the end of the day, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as professionals, we have to find ways, intentional ways for us to be able to generate leads. And if you all have any questions or any comments throughout this conversation, I want you to comment them below. But number one is lead generation. What are you doing on a daily basis to be able to generate leads? And what I mean by that is generate traffic, visibility, prospects that look at your business, visit your website, engage with your products or services, that you have eyeballs on whatever it is that you're doing. Lead generation is number one. Number two is revenue generation. When you think of activities or specific things that you're doing, how are we generating revenue in our business, income within our business today? Whether that's you closing someone on the phone, whether that is you prospecting people online, whether that is cold calling people, sending emails, building out marketing campaigns, whatever that is, when you think about 90% of businesses failing because they're undercapitalized, they're simply just not making enough money. So with your business, you have to continue to fill the tank as you're continuing to leverage or use and exhaust resources to be able to operate and have working capital within the business. So number one is lead generation. And number two, following that one, is revenue generation, because oftentimes it's challenging to generate revenue if we don't have a client base or a sales pipeline that are coming from lead generation activities. Number three is operational growth or operational activities, or we could use this as administration activities. What are we doing on a daily basis to improve the operation of our business? Whether that is writing standard operating procedures, whether that is having team calls or personnel check-ins, whether that is looking at financial projections or looking forward 3 to 4 to 5 years, or even months from now, wherever you are in the stages of your business. What are you doing to improve the administration or the operation in regards to how your business runs? Auditing systems, looking at different business plannings, understanding the analyzing data, analyzing client data and sales pipelines. All of these different things are super important. Number five, or excuse me, number four is personal or professional development. All right. Number one is lead generation. Number two is revenue generation. Number three is operational or growth or administration. And then number four is personal or professional development. What are you doing on a daily basis to be able to grow who you are internally, as well as who you are in the title that you hold or carry from a professional standpoint as well? When you look at the millions of books that are on the market, how I usually recommend people to read books is by looking at what you're struggling with in that season that you're in. If you're struggling with relationships and it's really taking a toll on your productivity and how you're showing up in the world, then I understand your business may be struggling with these specific characteristics or qualities or challenges. But the reality of it is that maybe you need to read a book that is providing you the biggest challenge or the biggest hurdle more or quicker, so that we can identify how to solve that specific problem first before we continue to move forward in solving the next set of problems. So when you identify and choose a book that you're going to read personally or professionally to develop or enhance or empower where you are in your life, identify the 1 to 3 gaps, challenges, problems that can serve as a domino, that once I read that one, that domino falls down, I accomplish it, and then it allows 3 to 4 to 5 dominoes to fall after that one specifically. So the four major components are lead generation, revenue generation, operations, and personal or professional development. But before any of that, we talked about what are the things that we need to wait, what are the things that we need to prioritize, and then what are the things that need to be specifically delegated. Once we understand that, it goes to that second step that we just communicated. And then when we think about on a daily activity, like Kyle, okay, I understand lead generation. I understand revenue generation. I understand I need to be looking at the operations on a daily basis. And I understand I need to be potentially reading or listening to podcasts or doing something on a daily basis to grow myself personally or professionally. But Kyle, what does that look like on a daily basis? What are some specific things that you would recommend, Kyle, that I can be doing on a daily basis on whatever level that I am on? I'm going to give you 5 things. Okay. I'm going to give you 5 things, and I want you to write these down right now. If you're still with me, comment something in the chat or ask a question in the chat so that I can customize this specifically to where you are in your journey. All right. So these 5 things start with the first thing, which is most important, in my opinion, is to create a connection. Oftentimes, we're not generating leads. We're not growing our visibility. We're not growing our brand because we're simply not networking enough. And networking at the end of the day is recession proof. Every single day, step one needs to be you're creating a connection, whether that is an existing connection in your phone, whether that is reaching out to someone you used to be connected with, whether it be in college or at a different workplace. And you need to be exposing them to the great things that you're doing, as well as taking interest in the great things that I'm sure that they're doing. A mentor of mine years ago told me that the best way for people to have interest in your thing is to have interest in their thing. So it's simply picking up your phone, making a call, and saying, hey, just was thinking about you. I wanted to see how you were doing and what are some things that you're working on, so that, I could potentially serve or help you, or if there's anything that I can do to be able to support you. Right then and there, you're not coming with a handout, you're coming with potentially something to be able to pour into them. I believe in the law of reciprocity. So the more that you're giving to the world or giving to your connections, the more that you will be able to receive in return as well. So, what is a connection, or who is a connection that you could be able to create on a daily basis? Whether it's leveraging LinkedIn, social media platforms, whether it's picking up the phone, whether it's looking up someone online and potentially cold calling that individual, create a connection every single day. Number two is create a piece of content. All right. How can I create a piece of content? When you think about content, at the end of the day, and this is the digital age, content is king. How can you create a piece of content today that shows that you are knowledgeable in the area, or you have an expertise in the area that you're communicating, as well as you're providing value to a specific group of people or a community or a specific industry that deems you as a thought leader or an industry expert, or somebody that has something to give worth sharing with the world specifically. So how can I create a piece of content, whether that's a written article or a blog post, a video lesson, or something that you could potentially be able to provide for your marketplace as well? Number three is to close a new client, whether that is closing a new client or closing an existing client and upselling them as a part of an ascension model. What can you offer someone today that allows them to have their problem specifically solved based upon the solution that you're providing that individual? So, number one is create a connection. Number two is to create a piece of content. Number three is to close a new client. Every day, this allows us to be able to reach that revenue generation and income generation standpoint. Okay. Number four is to contribute to an already existing discussion. The beautiful thing that I like about LinkedIn, the overall platform of LinkedIn, is that when certain topics specific to what you do are trending, it sends you a notification and say, hey, these people have already commented or engaged with this specific topic that is currently trending. Would you like to give your thoughts on that topic? The beautiful thing about that is that one, you showcase your thought leadership and your knowledge. Two, you're joining a conversation that is already having a mass quantity of individuals engaging. And then three, it allows you to increase your visibility, which will allow you to increase your leads, which will allow you to be able to increase your overall revenue on the back end as well. So, how can I contribute to a discussion today? Whether it's through a podcast discussion, a LinkedIn discussion, or article or blog, a poll, an Instagram live, whatever that, a Facebook community, a forum, leveraging platforms such as Quora, Quora, is a message board that will allow you to contribute to a lot of the discussions or already existing questions that people have out there. And then the last one is to cultivate a relationship with a specific leader or what we call a gatekeeper. When I worked in the pharmaceutical sales industry, I had the opportunity of working with Janssen, which was a company of Johnson and Johnson on the biotech realm. And when we would go into different pharmaceutical or when we would go into different dermatology offices, the first step wasn't the dermatologist. The first step was the gatekeepers, who are the desk or front office administrators or the nurses, or all of these individual lines to get to the person that you were trying to actually get in front of to do business with. Oftentimes, you're not going to be able to get directly to the leader on the first call, on the first email, or on the first piece of outreach. But who are the people that you can cultivate a relationship with, that have a relationship with the person that you're trying to get in front of? When you think about that, every single day you should be trying to cultivate relationships, contribute to discussions, close new clients, create pieces of content, as well as create connections with individuals. When we bucket this up, it's allowing us to focus on personal and professional development. We should be reading and learning every day. Operational control. So, what are the things that we could be doing to control our operations or to enhance or systemize our operations so that it can grow our business? Number three is revenue generation. What are we doing to be able to generate revenue today? As well as lead generation. What are we doing to be able to generate leads specifically on a daily basis? Once we understand all of those different things, we have to understand the three major pillars, which are what needs to wait, what needs to be prioritized, and then what can be delegated. When we're talking about mastering, again, the daily habits of successful authors and entrepreneurs, it's up to you to be able to implement daily practices that allow you to not just emulate other entrepreneurs, because you have your own style and pizzazz and flow with how you do it. But I believe that success leaves clues. And if there are a certain group in a population of individuals that are doing it in a specific way, that are leveraging specific results, then it's up to us to be able to adopt certain daily practices, qualities, as well as habits, so that we can be able to produce similar types of responses and results. When you think about books like The One Thing, Atomic Habits, Essentialism, all of these books are amazing books, but the one book that I want to be able to recommend to you all today is The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story, by me, Kyle King. And what this is going to allow you to do is to be able to create a system to be able to turn your story your experiences, your education in a way where you're writing this book. And you turn that book into a full business that generates 15 sources of revenue for you. And with those 15 sources of revenue, whether it's consulting or digital products or speaking or brand partnerships or consulting opportunities, all of these different things that I talk about in the book, it allows you to build influence while also being able to generate impact. If you are interested in this book, I have a community that I would like for you to join. It's called the Imprint Community. And in this community, we're meeting on a weekly basis. A weekly basis. I'm going to leave the link below for you to be able to check out our community. And what people are learning is how to leverage their story to get in school districts, how to leverage their story to get on stages, how to leverage their story to build successful six-figure organizations. And I want you to be a part of that community. I want you to be a part of that community. I want you to be able to get your questions answered. I want you to be able to grow internally, as well as I want you to be able to produce more impact as well as produce more income. I'll see you all next lesson. And if there's any questions at all, leave them at the bottom of this video. See you guys soon.